All right, let's call this. Ready to go?
Recording in progress.
Call the meeting of the North Koochiching Area Sanitary District to order here on November 21st, 8 o'clock. Roll call, all are here except for Robert, and we have a guest, Pete, who's filling in for Tim.
Yes, I am.
So, Darcy, Greg, Stacy, and Callie. Any audience? Go on audience for audience comments. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? A motion to accept the agenda?
So move.
Second.
Call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
We have minutes for the 17th. October 17th. There's a motion to accept the minutes for October 17th.
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call question?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. We also have minutes from the October 26th budget meeting. Could we have a motion, or could we have a motion to accept those?
I'll make that motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Dave,
Second.
Brian. Any discussion on that, on those minutes? Call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Kathy.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Disbursements, we have disbursements of $153,959.21, including our blanket authorizations. Is there anything on there that's, did we look at, Callie, that you know?
No.
Anybody else have anything on the disbursements and questions?
What, Wisconsin State Lab of Hygiene.
That's,
What's
that's
the question?
WSLH. That's where we order all our PTs, our proficiency testing for next year. That's all ordered.
Minnesota doesn't have anything like that, right?
Not that we know of. We've always got all our PTs through WSLH, Wisconsin State Lab of Hygiene, and ERA. That's where all our PTs come from.
Oh, okay.
Also,
They're not offered by Minnesota or,
I
well, I
don't
mean,
know that
it's not
100%,
the end
but
of the
we've
world,
always used them for years.
yeah, okay. Oh.
Any other questions? Could we have a motion to
So move.
Second.
approve?
Okay, so who, Brian was the first, okay? And who seconded the motion?
Done.
Don did.
Gotcha.
Any more discussion on it? We call the question.
Aye.
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 And I vote yes too, so it's all good. Our budget versus actual.
Everybody got the financials in advance, so if you have questions, just let me know. I didn't see anything that's out of order.
Okay, and a checking account report here also. And income versus expenses. Any questions on any of those? Not, we'll direct that to be sent to the auditor's end. Okay, we have an operator's report next.
All right, Mr. Chairman, board members, just a few things here. The first thing is our chlorination system. Now we got that all shut down for the year. As of November 1st, our chlorination system is shut down, and all of our extra cylinders, chlorine cylinders, sulfur cylinders, Hawkins came up and took them all back. Otherwise, we're getting charged for them for sitting down there. They never used to do that, but all that stuff's been sent back. The bar screen at EQ, we've been working with them down there. That's up and running right now. A few bugs to get out. Maybe Bob will talk about that a little bit, but that's been working pretty good. A few little bugs though, like I say, to get out. Also, we just received our notification from the MPCA that our lab certification for 2024 has been approved. So we submitted that lab certification application, and that's been approved by the MPCA for 24. So that's completed. And I kind of mentioned about the PTs. Everything's ordered for 24 WSLH for the proficiency testing that we have to do. Also, our DMR QA study that'll open next March. All our samples are ordered for that. That's all completed. And also, we're going to be working here with Boss Agriculture pretty soon here to get the biosolids report done. That's due December 31st. So we'll get that done and submitted.
That's a contract that
Yeah.
we're looking at here. That's kind of an odd.
Yeah, called and asked about it, so.
Yeah.
Also, flow meters, all the flow meters were calibrated a couple weeks ago for the last time this year. So we have to do them twice a year to be compliant with our permit.
How many do we do?
Well, it varies. We do a couple extra in the spring, and then in the fall we do a little bit less. There's like 8 or 9 of them that we have to do according to the permit, but we like to double check a couple other ones once a year. That's about all I have. That's about it.
Any questions for Craig? Thank you. Appreciate it. I think we're gonna have Bob Stark give us a report on EQ next. Bob, is that right?
That's fine. Like Greg had mentioned, they went through startup on the screen last Wednesday. Well, it should have been a 2-hour startup, took the better part of a day because the programming for the level transmitters was not in accordance with the way they were built. So it took the electrician and their startup guy a couple hours to figure that out. But, Greg had mentioned there's some hiccups. I'm not aware what those are, so Greg, you could fill me in on that. From what I know, everything was working pretty good. The other thing that they've done is they replaced the piping, those elbows in the pumping room that was so bad. We got those replaced. Just as a side note, the contractor wanted me to pass on his thanks to Greg and his guys for helping out so with the bypass and getting things forward. It's very complimentary of what you guys have done. But the other item on that project, the motors for the pumps they should be coming out here next week, and we got to start up on those scheduled for the first week in December. Greg, I'll be working with you for that. The other issue with that screen that I'd like to just talk to you a little bit about, it's been our goal all along to put some kind of metering on the flow that would bypass the wastewater plant. We've looked at that. We've come up with a couple ways of doing it, but I don't think there's any way to do that that's going to be any more accurate than what Greg is estimating. When that water comes out of the tank into that chamber where we put a flow meter, there's so much turbulence and mixing in there that I don't think there's a meter that's going to give you good data on that. If you really wanted to do it accurately, I think you'd either have to modify that box and put in a weir or go downstream a little bit on that pipe and put in a partial plume. I don't think it's worth spending the money on a meter we had talked about. That's not going to give you any better information unless you actually need a number to turn into the NPCA. You guys can help me with that. I've looked at different types of meters. The problem is the turbulence. Sometimes that pipe is empty, sometimes it's full. It's just not I don't know how to meter it, I guess. I've talked to different vendors and they're reluctant to participate because of the turbulence that's in their box. like the tank is discharging. If you would like, what I can do is contact the pollution control agency, just relay this to them and just see if they're okay with us continuing to do it as we're doing right now. One thing we could do to help out that situation a little bit is possibly change in the program, so to come up with an amount of flow that's coming into that tank, we could monitor the rise of the volume in there against time, come up with gallons per minute. That would give us an additional amount that would be discharging, but if the floor would drop off, then that estimate would be on the high side, but we'll start working right on that. But I guess if you'd like me to contact the agency and see if that would be an acceptable alternative to installing a meter, I don't know that it's actually a requirement from them that we put a meter in. We wanted to know what it is, but there's not a practical way to do it with what we have here.
What's his suggestion?
What would you suggest, Bob, that we do?
What I would like to do, at least to get an idea before we spend a lot of money, I had mentioned when we're filling up that tank, we can monitor the water level in the tank over time, know how much water is going into the tank. And at the time that would discharge, that would be the amount of water that's going out to the river. So that would give you a starting point. And Greg's got a method that they've been using in the past to come up with an estimate. Frankly, I don't know why the pollution control agency would be too concerned about a volume. As soon as it discharges, it's a problem. It doesn't really get worse if there's more. It's just, it'd be nice to know what it is, but I don't know that there's a practical way to do it without spending a whole bunch of money.
I would say if it's not required in our permit, I think we should keep on doing like we're doing. And why raise question about it then? If it's not a requirement and Craig's been doing this and you feel that's been as accurate as we can do it, let's just keep on doing what we're doing.
I don't think there's any real accuracy there.
No.
It's a guess is what we're doing,
Well,
and I'm not in favor of that. I'd like to, as long as we're going to charge the users by the volume of water that they send, you have to be able to count it. You have to be able to.
But if there's no way of doing it, what are you going to do?
Well, I don't know, but we've been going the last year under the impression that they could put in a flow meter, and now all of a sudden they say no.
We could work out a thing with Greg so that we could get an estimate of that flow based on how fast the water rises in the tank.
Yeah, wow. What happens when the flume is surcharged? You don't know what's coming into that tank. Once that tank
No,
gets
but-
full, its flume is surcharged, we don't know what's exactly coming in there. Just what we're putting out. Now, as far as the flow meter, well, go ahead.
What I'm suggesting, Greg, is that we monitor how fast the water rises in the tank itself. We can, of course, from like inch per hour, we can say that's this many gallons per minute. That tells you how much is going into the tank by monitoring the rise rate of the water in the tank. If that tank, this is just a number, let's say it's 10,000 gallons per foot. That occurred, rising, say, a foot over 30 minutes, and you could come up with how many gallons per minute that is. That would be the amount that would be going out of the tank at the beginning of a bypass period, but obviously that's going to be on the high side as a flow rate goes down.
I don't know, something to talk about.
When you say spend a whole lot of money for a flow meter there, what's a whole lot of money?
Well, it would have to be a modification to that structure on the outside of the tank so that you can put a weir in there. $30,000, yes.
Why couldn't you put a mag meter in the line itself?
Because for a mag meter to work, the pipe's got to be full all the time. we could, cut in a manhole downstream and put in one of those area velocity meters. But then again, that's a pretty good manhole. You have to do that for a meter too. That pipe is pretty large.
Has anybody talked to
Probably.
MPCA? Oh, excuse me. Has the MPCA weighed in on this at all?
They haven't, to my knowledge, they haven't made a requirement that there be a meter there. We wanted to do it just to get an idea, but I don't know that they've actually come out and said that we have to do it. When there's a bypass, they need an estimate of the amount that bypassing. Greg's been doing that.
I think that's what they require, that should be what we should be doing. And just going over and above what they require, so what they require, the estimate.
Mr. Chairman, this sound is kind of bad. I don't know. Is it, everybody, you're having a little trouble?
Bob's breaking up a little bit.
It's like a delay.
What's your thoughts on it? Should we talk about some more? Check it out. Greg, what are your thoughts?
You know? What are we gonna do with that flow that goes to the river? Besides report it from the MPCA.
Report it, and they said they need an estimate. If you've been estimating it so far and they're happy with that, that's
We're
what.
gonna use that for billing? If it's got primary treatment?
What have we done in the past?
Well,
Just report it. It's a bypass. Test everything, submit it with our DMR. That's it. It's a violation on us for bypassing.
Well, is the meter gonna not make it a violation? It's still gonna be a violation whether there's a meter or not.
Right. What do we charge for it? With a real meter.
Well, if the meter's not gonna be any accurate than your estimate is, there's no sense spending $30,000 to put a meter
Right
in.
meter, I think, would be. Gotta find the right thing. Just an estimate right now with how far the gate's open.
But that one option would
Gets
be
more pressure, more water pushing through it.
Go ahead, Bob.
one option that you could do that is modify that effluent box to put a partition wall down the middle and put a weir so that it comes out of the tank into a chamber and then falls over a weir that you could monitor the elevation on that weir. I think that box is too small to do that without putting an extension on it.
Once we start bypassing, that box gets pretty full.
Yeah.
That's a full pipe going out of there.
Yep.
But we're gonna have,
You know, when it feels that there's so much turbulence in that box, when it goes into the pipe, those area velocity meters, they need kind of a constant flow rate to make it work. The flow meter that we were talking about gets installed into the pipe. It's 3 or 4 feet into the pipe, and then it measures the depth of the water and how fast the water's moving. And that's how it calculates the flow rate. But if you got a lot of turbulence and mixing it, you'll get a consistent velocity.
well, I don't know, for myself, I couldn't vote for anything, plus or minus here because it's just, the presentation is good enough, I don't think.
is this,
Greg, can you and I talk and see what would have to be done to measure the rise rate in that tank and come up with an estimate that way? And see where that takes it?
Right?
Yeah. No. think we should look into it a little more here.
Yeah.
I'll go back through and I'll prepare an estimate of what it would cost to put a flume on that discharge pipe.
Bob, does this have to be done with the EQ thing right now? Do we have to make a decision right now on this, do we? This can be done anytime in the future, can't it?
There wasn't, my original intent was to do this with that project, but then over the course, we decided that we wanted to do it with a battery operated device, and then there would be no input from the electrical to do that, so we didn't include it in the project.
Okay, so it's not included in the project, so we don't need to make a decision right now. We can do some more research. Correct?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct. What,
Let's do that.
But if,
the other thing that's difficult, you know, is you'll have a meter that's sitting dry for, it could be a year or 2 years, and then all at once it's gotta work.
Yeah.
And, that's a difficult situation too.
the thing is, if we do it with the project, we can use WIP funds. Otherwise, it's gonna come out of Andy North Koochiching's budget in a year or two.
I don't. Does it, or can
Yeah,
we go back to?
I
We
don't know.
consider it as part of a project, but not part of Amtech's contract.
Let's put some,
Well, we'll check into that too.
this puts us in a tough bind here. We can choose to do something, but what's the chances that it's the right thing to do? We don't know. I thought this thing was under advisement this whole time that the project was happening, and apparently it's a kind of an afterthought.
Well, Greg and Bob, can you have more conversation together?
Yeah.
And let's you talk to Greg and see what you two guys can work out and bring it back to us again.
Okay.
If there's anything. Okay?
If we need to, we can maybe call a special meeting.
Yeah, we will, if we need to. Any other thing, Bob, for us?
Yesterday I talked to Jason, when he called today, he couldn't participate in this. He talked about, Callie, you may know more about this than I do, but it was a connection that was made to, or was going to be made to your sewer system from International Falls, and then now they've come up with a different way of doing it. And the question is whether or not there's any permitting or anything that's got to be done by the district. And Jason said no, it's all on the developer in the city, International Falls.
Okay.
Okay,
It's an
Good.
apartment, but I don't know the details. I haven't been involved in it at all.
Well, it's been permitted through the falls, I know that.
Okay. I know the district's approved the falls coming into the district, but the correspondence between the falls and the NPCA's is outside of the district, I think, from the city.
okay.
Okay, anything else?
Could we work on the sound next time or two, or do we have somebody that we could call that?
I don't know who's it might be on Bob's end.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's Zoom. Yeah, Zoom. Huh. We've
Anything
never
else,
had-
Bob?
You're bouncing in and out of me. I don't have any other problems at other times when I'm on meetings. I'm on them a couple times a day.
Okay,
I don't
maybe
think
it's
well-
our end. We'll look into it.
We'll get Todd over here. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Anything for
That's all
Bob?
I have.
Anything for Bob? Anybody? Well, thank you, Bob. Appreciate your report.
Thank you.
You and Greg can work on that and see what you come up with. Thanks.
Will do.
All right, let's go on to the director's report.
Okay, the budget committee will continue to meet through December, and at our meeting in January, we will approve the budget. So I want to be able to make changes right up until December. So our next budget meeting is scheduled for 8 AM, November 28th. And then we did receive, that's next Tuesday, and then we did receive a quote for painting the plant, and we have accepted that. It's part of our 2023 budget, but from what I understand, it looks like he's not gonna be able to start till February of 2024. So, but it is part of our capital improvement plan. The East Cooch contract, I'm reworking the contract on how expenses are compiled, so we're not playing a big guessing game. We're gonna be doing more monthly billing for them, instead of like trying to budget so much money and then just charge them that money and it not be used at all. All of it may not be used, or there may be more used, and so we're gonna try to go to more monthly expenses and see how that works. In your packet, you have a contract that we received. Greg received it on Friday from Boss Agriculture on the sludge removal. You can see on the front page of it, I had questions, I had concerns with the contract. And so I sent him all the questions and my concerns. And he came back yesterday and said that a lot of it didn't even apply to us. Well, if it doesn't apply to us, why is it in a contract?
Right, why is it in there?
So I'm assuming he's used just a generic contract over and over. But I do have his answers in writing. And if we sign a contract, because that was my first item, and my second item is that you're gonna charge 11%, and if you're gonna make us sign a 5-year contract, there should be some incentive, like a lock-in price. Anyway, he said he would lock that price per gallon in for 5 years. So I told him I was happy with it, that I'd bring it to the board. But I also want you to know that we've reached out to Fergus Power Pump, and we reached out to them the last time to get another quote, and he will get back to me next week. So I guess what I would like is for the board to give Greg and I the power to either sign this contract for 5 years with the locked-in price, or go with Fergus Power Pump, whichever is the better option for the district. And then you can ratify it at the December meeting, because we need to get something going.
Do you need a motion for that right now, or?
Just to give us, yeah, and we'll also work with Walt on that too.
Yeah,
So, but, yeah, if you could give us permission to make a decision, then you can
Just get
ratify it
together.
at your next meeting.
Yeah, we get the better contract, yeah.
yeah. You know, the thing is, with this new guy, I mean, we should have a provision where we can opt out too from the contract, right? Or-
Yes, you can opt out. He has it in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
That wasn't one of my concerns, but,
Yeah,
you know, I gave you the list of my questions, and I had Greg review it to see if he had additional questions or concerns.
are you looking for a motion, Mr.
Okay,
Chair?
yeah, let's have a motion to have Callie sign that after she gets the next bid in, and we'll decide which bid would be the best for the district.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Mike. Any more discussion?
Yeah, it states in there's a 90-day out clause on it, so.
Any other discussion on it? Call the question.
Aye.
Motion carried, so.
Okay, the next item is the ponds. We had an incident out at the ponds where we believe it was Saturday night. Somebody went through our gate and just totally destroyed it.
Right at the end of 15th.
They smashed it.
And
Mangled it up pretty good.
Mangled it big time, bent that great big 4-inch post, that
Oh.
great big corner post, that thick corner post.
Yeah.
Bent it way over about a 45-degree angle and.
What day was this?
we believe
I noticed it
Saturday.
on Sunday when I was going to work at the airport, and I let her know.
So, Greg has called the fence company, they'll be up Wednesday to give us a quote on how much it will cost to repair it. We did file a police report, I'll go and get a copy of that today. I have gone out and taken pictures, I've turned that in to the insurance company and waiting to hear from them. And I asked them to please find out if we can go ahead and get this fixed or get it okayed right away, because, you know, the ground is not frozen, and if we have to cement pipes in, we still probably have an opportunity to do that. So, and Greg, did you have anything else to add to that?
No, we just get a quote on it.
So the fence company that's coming up is the same company that did the fence at the
Oh,
ponds.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Is that Century?
Century.
They're good.
Funny thing about it was you couldn't see those skid marks anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they just.
They were just going down 15th
They
Street.
just blew right through it. I'm
They had
sure.
to. Yeah.
Fell asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
anything else?
One more thing.
Yeah.
We had some investments come due, and Friday I worked with John Winkle and Robert, and we got things, the ones that were coming due, we got them renewed. Some we did for 6 months, some we stretched out for a year. So we kind of figured what we were gonna need for the EQ project, and just if something were to happen and we needed money, so that's all been taken care of. We have some more coming due in the beginning of December, so I'll work with Robert and do the same thing on those. That was just an update. And that's all I have, unless you have something for me.
Anybody have any questions for Director? No?
No.
Okay,
Okay.
let's move on. We got the EQ update. Earn sick and safe time policy that we have for us.
Okay, I took this back, it's a draft that was worked up through the city. I attended their meetings, and I gave this to Jeff and to Dan Manick with the 49ers. They're both signed off on it. There's only one minor change, and that is on page 2. At the very, very top, it says ESST must be used when it applies. And they would like it to say may be used, as it does on the first page. An employee may use ESST time. So we'll just be changing that one word. Otherwise, they've signed off on it, so I would need a motion from the board with that change.
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second to make that change on there. Any discussion on that one? Call question?
Aye.
Okay.
And just to let you know that the city will continue to compile this with our payroll and stuff, so they'll be doing all of that.
And we adopted this already.
Yes, you did that last night's
Last
meeting, you
week.
said?
Yeah, we know.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let's go on to the sick committee.
At the last meeting, I gave you the safety manuals and all the policies that were drafted. I also gave them to the staff for their input and any changes that they might have. I have not heard of any changes or additions. So, Greg, have you guys are okay?
Yep.
Okay. Stacy? Is that a verbal yes? Yes. Thank you for the record. So I guess with that, we can just have the board approve them, and I'll start working on getting them into the proper places and in the books.
We have a motion to approve the safety manuals.
I'll make that motion.
Mike,
Second.
second, Don. Any discussion, any more discussion on that? Question on it? Call question.
Aye.
Motion carried. Budget update?
I basically already went through
Did that already?
it. Yeah, I've been making changes all along.
Okay, let's jump down to new business now, the manhole update on the Backus building. AB building.
Greg?
Will be there. Well, the best option it looked like was for the contractor to put another manhole in between the existing manhole in the street and the building on the property line, and tie in AB to that structure, and then tie in Backus to that structure also, and have one line going into the existing manhole. Because when they opened up the street and started to get close to the manhole structure that's in the street right now that feeds AB Backus, it looked like the outside wasn't in the greatest shape. It looked pretty decent inside, but the outside, some of the blocks start falling off, and they're real worried about taking any more dirt away and having something really go wrong there. So we discussed all the options, whether to put another structure, say 20 feet down to the east in the street on that 30-inch, or put another structure over by the property line and have both buildings coming into that structure, and then one line going out to the street. And that would seem like the best option to go. So I believe that's the route they want to try to go.
How far along are they on it? Have they got the structure? Is it gonna get done this fall, or what's the plan? You don't
Haven't
know?
heard nothing
No
yet.
time frame? Okay. Okay. Any questions for Greg on that one?
I don't have a question, but I got a call from Isaac Meyer, from Koochiching, to talk about just before the meeting last night, so I'm aware, and they're just talking about the possibility of some shared costs for building the new manhole or whatever we got going there. That's as technical as I know, like between North Cooch and the contractor. I said I'd bring it here, and there it is. I don't know what that would be or what that would look like. I don't know if they talked to anybody else about that, but he called me last night before the meeting and said I would bring it up here and let you know that they'd, I think you see these like $60,000 they're looking at,
Is that what they're looking at?
the cost to do it. Yeah.
And who called you?
Isaac Meyer from Koochiching. Because they're in with the building project.
He was kind of instrumental in
The
getting
building, the
funding
funds for
it.
the, because of funding
Oh.
through Koochiching. I had called him a few times about some issues there, so.
Isaac is-
He come, and he's kind of like the go-between between whoever the developer is and.
Okay. And we have talked a little bit of costs, not like
Right, yeah.
not numbers.
Yeah.
But, maybe some kind of shared cost.
Yeah, and so,
Until we find the numbers, it's hard to say what we
Yeah.
wanna do,
right, then I said I'll let you know when someone reach out to him, and then he'd, out of the contractors, they find stuff out.
Yeah. Because, it is our manhole, and
you should hook up and get Isaac's number and let Isaac know, that you're the director of the district and that you should have some conversation back and forth so I can.
Yeah, and one of the things he talked about was like, it's more that yes, it is your manhole, but also that if they tried doing it, like you said, there's no gonna be connecting up with the old one, right? And if they tried and if something happened with the old, say you try to use the old manhole cover the way it is, and then if something goes wrong, then we really, and it could work for a while, right? Then sometime down the road and probably be more of a issue. That's
So, somebody said, that's our manhole? North Cooch.
right,
yeah.
Greg has,
Well,
Greg has a different idea, I can
Well,
read it
no,
from
I
here.
mean, I think we can fix it if it's ours.
Yeah.
I mean,
It needs some lining or something, doesn't it, Greg?
Was that on the list, Greg?
Well, according to the report, that manhole they came back as a good manhole.
Yeah.
That's on the inside. There
Yeah.
was no water leaking in,
Yeah.
I and I are coming in,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
just an invert
Okay.
for Bacchus AB.
That wasn't on one of our bad ones.
No,
No.
Okay.
but when you open it up and get to the outside,
Outside.
it's in worse shape than they thought.
Yeah. So if I guess there's an opportunity that sounds, right now you're talking about it's your manhole cover, but there's an opportunity to get some shared costs out of the repairs maybe with the or whatever they got going.
Just open up the dialogue with them.
Right, and that's
Right.
last night
That's what I
was,
mean.
and that's what he talked to
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
and we both said, yeah, I got a little bit idea. And the only thing I understand is crumbling when it comes to the rest of it, well, what it is, but.
That's why it'd be nice if you could get.
Yeah, I will, yeah,
His number and have Isaac
Yep, I got my, it's in my,
Dialogue
it's on my
going
phone in the car, and I'll
correctly,
bring
so
it
that
in.
doesn't have to involve an in-between person.
Yeah.
Sure,
Well,
sounds
just
good.
let them know I'm involved. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna invite them to ask us for money.
No, well, no, yeah. Yeah, right. Well, that's
I just can't consciously do that.
yeah. Oh, you could come on, I kinda already did, so that part's taken care of.
Okay.
Okay, good, let's get that dialogue going there and try to work
Yep.
something out. Anything else on that manhole? Okay, just, okay, thank you. Our, this next one we've already covered also with the agreement for the
Yep.
pledge, and we got this waiver not to waive, or a waiver not to waive liability coverage.
It's our liability coverage. We sign it every year.
That's the same one we did.
The mystery, the
Yep.
mystery document,
League of
Yeah.
Minnesota Cities.
We just need a motion.
Have a motion to, sign that.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Brian, Don, any more discussion? Call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody?
did we finish with the manhole thing? So we're taking care of it, we're just gonna,
Well, we're gonna talk about it.
We're gonna
They don't know what the
talk
costs are, they don't know anything else, they don't know when it's gonna be done.
oh,
It's
okay,
just
but
an
it just sounded to
infant
me like
stage.
there was a hurry. There
No,
was kind of
it's-
urgency.
Oh, they wanted to get it in a hurry just because they wanted to get it in before it froze up, but
Yeah.
the manhole, I don't know if they were gonna check on getting the manhole, but if they can't, then you can't get it in time, you can't get it in
And
time.
this all just came about like last Tuesday or Monday or something, yeah.
So they said they can get by without it, and for the winter if they have to, but they gotta do all their washing from AB in Bacchus then for the sewer, otherwise they can't use the water in AB to clean
Should we
stuff.
should we make a motion to let you just go ahead and deal with this, take care of it, or?
No, we want conversation first, we want to estimate if they want a cost share, we wanna know about here before we just go and do it. If we have to, we'll call a special meeting if we have to.
Yeah.
If they wanna urgently get it done now, we can call a special meeting and just do that and
How is that coming, the
move
project
forward.
coming along? I mean,
I don't know.
I think it's on track, you know, they're getting, I think they're still working.
Still demoing.
Demoing, yeah, and getting the asbestos, all that stuff out, but yeah, but it, and then every now and then you can go on KCC and they have videos of the progress of what's going on.
anything hidden, any?
They haven't found any treasure yet that I know, but if they're smart, they're not gonna tell anybody either, are they, if they find treasure?
That's an excellent building. mean,
Yeah,
quality building.
I can only imagine what they can come across when they go through all
Okay, we have correspondence at the end here for FYI for WIF funds to be transferred in October of $13,467. And our next meeting will be the 19th of December at 8 o'clock. Any other business? Meeting adjourned.